Hello friends, welcome to lecture 3. In this lecture we'll be discussing about the rule of dominance in game theory. In the first lecture we have discussed about the basics of game theory and saddle point and pure strategy we have discussed. In the second lecture we have discussed about mixed strategy and how to solve and the method to solve mixed strategy. We have discussed algebraic method and shortcut method. The method to solve this mixed strategy is for 2 by 2 matrix only. The method that we have discussed, that is only for 2 by 2 matrix. Now if the payoff matrix becomes more than 2 by 2, let's say it's 2 by 3 or 3 by 2 or 4 by 3, then it is not possible to solve by the algebraic method. Then in certain cases we can reduce the matrix size to 2 by 2 by using rule of dominance. I mind you, it is not in every case it is possible, but in certain case it is possible to reduce the size of the matrix by using rule of dominance. So let's get started and understand what is the rule of dominance. Okay, so the rule of dominance, as it states, there are basically three fundamental rules. The first rule says that if all the elements of column, let's say ith column, are greater than or equal to the corresponding elements of another column, let's say it's a jth column, then ith column is dominated by jth column. Now it is very common sense. If all the elements of a particular, from B's point of view, if all the elements of a particular column is more than or equal to the corresponding elements of another column, then obviously B will not choose this column. So this column will be omitted or deleted. So this column is said to be dominated by the other column. So mind you, very important point, either it is greater, all the elements are greater or equal to. Even if it is equal to, then it is said to be dominated. Similarly, vice versa, in case of row, from A's point of view, if all the elements of rth row are less than, because A want to maximize his profit, so rth row, all the elements of rth row are less than or equal to the corresponding element of another row, let's say sth row, then since that row all the elements are less, so A will not choose that rth row, and rth row is said to be dominated by sth row. So rth row can be eliminated from the payoff matrix. So in this manner we keep on eliminating rows and columns until we reach 2 by 2 matrix, and then we can solve it by the algebraic method. So these are the two rules. The third rule says that a pure strategy of a player may also be dominated if it is inferior to some convex combinations of two or more pure strategies, as a particular case inferior to the average of two or more pure strategies. It is a very complex statement. Basically, I'll explain it in simple language. It says that if a particular elements of a particular row, okay, row or column, whatever it may be, let's say it's rth row, if all the elements of rth row are less than or equal to the average of two more rows, let's say sth row and tth row, less than or equal to the average of sth row, elements of sth row and tth row, then that rth row is said to be dominated and we can safely eliminate that particular row. I repeat this statement again. Try to understand. It may be row or it can be applied to column also. So let's say if all the elements of an rth row are less than the average of other two rows, let's say sth row and tth row, corresponding elements less than the corresponding elements of the average of sth row and tth row, then rth row is said to be dominated. In case of columns, if a particular column, let's say ith column, the elements of ith column are greater than the average of two more columns, corresponding elements of two more columns, then ith row is said to be dominated and we can safely eliminate ith row. So this is the rule of dominance. I again repeat, we apply rule of dominance to reduce the matrix to the size of 2 by 2 matrix if it is possible. It is not possible in every case. Some case it is possible. But before you apply rule and dominance, a very important point, please always check the saddle point. If there exists a saddle point, there is no point applying the rule of dominance. If you can find out the saddle point, if there exists a saddle point of the problem, then there is no need of you applying the rule of dominance. So we'll move on to a particular example. Let's say this is an example where y, two players x and y are there. X has 3 strategies and y has 2 strategies. Obviously this game cannot be solved by algebraic method. Now I want to reduce it to 2 by 2 matrix. So it is very evident here that all the elements of the x3 row, that is 1 and 1, are less than this and less than this. Also it is less than 4 and less than 1. So this x3 is either dominated by x2 or it is dominated by x1. So I can eliminate x3. So x3 is a dominated strategy. So this is the game after removal of this. Now can we apply the column rule? See, this is greater than this, fine. This is less than this, fine. But this is not greater than this. So I cannot apply the rule of dominance here. So this will be solved by algebraic method. So this is how we apply the rule of dominance. We'll solve another game here. So here in this game, x has 2 strategies and y has 4 strategies. Now I have to eliminate certain columns in order to solve it by the first I'll check whether there is a saddle point. In this problem also, first I'll check if there exists a saddle point. So if there exists no saddle point, then only I'll apply rule of dominance. Mind you, very important. First I'll check whether there exists a saddle point, and then only I will apply the rule of dominance. So there exists no saddle point here, so I will apply the rule of dominance. You can see here these values, -5 is less than 4, -2 is less than 6, or rather 4 and 6 are greater than -5 and 2. So y2 is dominated by y1. Again similarly 6 and 2 are greater than -5 and -2, so I can eliminate this row. So y2 will be eliminated, y3 will be eliminated. But can we eliminate y4? -3 is greater than y1, but -20 is less than -2. So this cannot be eliminated. I can eliminate only these two by applying the rule of dominance. So this is the matrix after applying the rule of dominance. So this is how you apply the rule of dominance and solve the game. You can apply the algebraic method or the shortcut method and solve this game. So this is a payoff matrix. I'll discuss this example and then I'll leave you to solve more problems. So this is a particular example where A has 3 strategies and B has 3 strategies. Obviously this cannot be solved by algebraic method, and there exists no saddle point here. So there is no saddle point. I found out the row minimum. Very important. You always find out the saddle point. So I'll apply rule of dominance. Let us watch the matrix very carefully. What is happening here? So using rule of dominance, the element row 1, all the elements are greater than this row. It is evident to me. So row 2 can be eliminated. Okay, you will be solving step by step. Don't try to delete 2-3 rows in a single step. Try to delete 1 row or 1 column in a single step. Now and then write down. This is the method of doing it. So now elements column 2. So their column 2, 5, 9 are greater than this 2. Okay, so column 2 is dominated by column 3. So column 2 will be omitted, and we get this payoff matrix 6, 4, 2, 6, 6, 4, 2, 6, and we solve it by algebraic method, and the value of the games comes out to be 14 by 3. So in this manner, you can solve certain games which are larger than 2 by 2 size by using rule of dominance. But mind you, not all games can be solved by using rule of dominance. Rule of dominance cannot be applied to all games rather. Another important point, whenever before you apply rule of dominance, always check there is a saddle point or not. That is very, very important. Always check there is a saddle point or not, and try to apply the rule of dominance one by one. Write down, applying the rule of dominance, write down the matrix, then apply the rule of dominance, again write down the matrix, and then finally come out to the 2 by 2 matrix. So these are the very important points. If you understand these points, then you will be able to solve any problem in which we can apply the rule of dominance. Okay, so this is another problem. This you try out yourself and try to find out the answer. So I hope you have written down this. Try to solve this and find out the answer. Pause the video here, try to solve it, and if you are able to solve it accurately, see here, mind you, there is a trick. The third rule also applies here. So I'll give you the answer. It will be 2542, strategy 3 and strategy 4, strategy 2 and strategy 4, and the value will become to be 16 by 5. So if you have listened carefully and you have done it correctly, then you should get this value of the game. Okay, this much for this lecture. Thank you for patiently hearing and watching this video.